Now I'm half tempted just to kind of like go back and see the other crime scenes and see just how different it was and see how obvious things stand out to be like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense. That's why I would click there. I followed the truck with the corpse in it over to Takadano Baba.
Hi, cha-cha to hakondo kure yasu.
Right that bad boy over here. Natsume was issuing orders to the forensics officers.
おはようございます、夏目さん。
おはようさ。時坂はも来たんね。
ええ。お聞きしたいこともあったんで。
さよか。ほな、仏さんばらしながら話しようか。
それは勘弁してください。
That's when I filed into the autopsy room while the body was taken elsewhere.
おいで。何が聞きたい？
今回の遺体は見ましたか？
I was curious about her initial impressions.
ちらっとな。あれは同じやね。お腹縫っとる感じがそっくりやし。
そうですか。
あとは首ですな。あないなことする意味がわからへん。まあそれ言うたら前の足を燃やしてたんもわからんけどな。
それも共通点だと思いますか？
まあ同じっちゅうたら同じかもしれまへんな。
Listen, man, I just cut him up. I don't do the detective shit. So even she had the same opinion as I did, huh? Suddenly the door opened, revealing the forensics officer I saw at the crime scene.
遺体の遺留品もこちらに置いておきます。
なんや、そんなんこっちに放られてもあかんで。
は
あ、ちょっと待ってくれ。それは遺体の口に入っていた紙切れかな。
I stopped the forensics officer when I saw the envelope he was carrying.
はい、そうですけれど。
見せてくれないか。
I stared at the scrap that the officer placed on the desk.
直す？
被害者の口腔内に入れられていたものです。
なんか女の子の字みたいわすな。
そう思いますか？
Natsume nodded to herself before she continued.
筆跡鑑定したら何かわかるんとちゃいます？
筆跡鑑定。
比較する標本がないと無理ですよ。
標本か。誰がこれを書いたのか、ある程度。
一連の被害者の資料でしたらこちらに揃っていますから、集められるのでしたらそれ以外の方をお願いします。
Ooh, designate my own candidates. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Now we're talking now. We're talking.
では、こちらで何人か心当たりがある人間を当たってみます。
まず誰の標本を手に入れるか決めといた方がええんちゃいます？
3, huh? Okay. Okay. I feel like I go for both Tokos. Toko's friend. Want me to stay away from Toko. Guess she doesn't like me. Hell yeah. Kyoko. Did you do it, Kyoko? I'd say I want to go for both Tokos. Ugh, hot nurse. No. That's the thing. Part of me feels like the Kachiki family is just such an obvious setup that I don't want to just assume it's the Kachiki family, like Chizuru there. I don't want to just assume it's her, right? That she's involved or potentially a part of it. I feel like I gotta suss out both Tokos. I don't see it being Kazuna. I really struggle to see that. I don't see how a pregnant woman could... Well, that's the thing. It's just who wrote the note, right? That's what we're trying to suss out, is who wrote the note. Not necessarily who committed the murders, but who wrote the note. And obviously it was Natsume here. That's the thing. Nishizono still hasn't shown up dead. Once again, Nene, I don't. Kazuna and Nene, I definitely don't see it. I definitely don't see it being Yukari, but maybe that's the sleeper hit, right? Obviously, don't see what Kyoko would have to do with anything. Hatsune, I want to believe nothing involved, but also part of me is like, potentially? I want to go for Chizuru Kachiki here. But also I feel like she's the one that like I least suspect in the Kachiki family, and maybe that's why it could be her. But at the same time, like I said, it's just like I feel like Fumiya seems a bit suspicious. Toko absolutely seems very suspicious. I just don't get any negative vibes from Chizuru, so I don't feel like that's the route to go. I don't believe Ayamu would have really any reason to write a note like that. Like, obviously, the person involved either has to be a victim or someone involved, right? Not necessarily the murderer themselves, but either A, one of the victims that the murderer had write the note, or someone involved. And the fact of the matter is, we still haven't found Nishizono's body. I feel like we gotta go for Nishizono. I feel like we gotta check to see if it's her handwriting. Because maybe it is her handwriting, and that confirms that she, at least at the time of this person's death, was still alive. Because I don't believe the woman we were looking at that did die was Nishizono. Because they haven't already disappeared. So mayhaps she could be involved. Let me just double check the backlog here. I'm just really going over what they're looking for. So I'm trying to get these samples. Well, that's the thing. I could go to like Ayamu and be like, "Hey, do you have samples of Yui's writing?" So it is still possible for it to be Nishizono. We already have writing materials related to the known victims. We'd be glad to take anything else you can get your hands on. And since we suspect Nishizono of being a potential victim, even though the police don't. Oh, it cleared all my choices, god damn it. I feel like that's the combo.
このくらいでいいか。
That's the combo.
ほいなら明日までに頼みます。うちから鑑識に回しときますさかい。
わかりました。
All that was left was to ask the candidates in question or those connected to them for their samples.
にしてもなんやろな、この決体のシーみたいなのは。
Seemed Natsume found it curious too.
すなわち顔は背に向かい。この仏さんそのままや。
そうなんですよ。
なんかの刺繍にでも載っとるんですやろか。
刺繍。
Something about that rang a bell. A poem anthology. If a new pain behoves me to make verses and give material.
そんな言葉がある詩集。
I have to check once I got home.
あとは何かあります？
Natsume snapped me out of my reverie.
そうですね。バラバラしたいのことですけど、
うちはその子やと思うてるんけどな。よそがちゃう言うたんやろ？
She didn't seem very happy about her verdict being overturned.
夏目さん、思っていたんですけど、頭部とその他が別人だという可能性はありませんか？
The body was dismembered, so it didn't seem all that implausible.
別人って誰よねん？そない仏さんは余っとらへんやん？
あくまでも可能性の話ですよ。
Flipped open my notebook and pointed at their name. Yeah, because she was the other one whose arm was missing, right?
例えば、多摩霊園で発見された小泉。
I mean, those arms could have been thrown into the mix with the dismembered body.
それはありえまへんのや。小泉京藩がいなくなったのはまあ
Try that again. Okay, then what about our Shinzo Mamiya? Just the fucking random ass artist. Hey, you know this artist? This famous artist? It was probably one of his arms, right? What if it wasn't Haruka Imamura, but Haruka Imamura? Consider that. What if it was your arm? What if it was your arm, Natsume? I mean, the only other option to click on would be Yui. There's literally no one else to click on that would fit the what we're looking for.
西園優衣の腕だという可能性はどうでしょうか？
まだ見つかってへん娘さんやったね。
Natsume stared off and thought.
もしかしたら頭部も彼女なのかもしれません。
かもしれへんな。まだ仏さんは監察医務院にあるやろし。
お願いします。
今んとこはこんなもんですやろか。ほなうちは解剖に入るさかい。
ええ。お時間を取らせてしまってすみません。
ええよ。その借りは後でじっくり返してもらうさかい。
A chill of abject terror swept over me, accompanied by the blood-curdling premonition that I'd be drier than a desert by the time I was done repaying her.
じゃあ、また来ます。
Oh, is that where the sex
と
scenes
いう
come
わ
into
けなんだ
play?
が、
妙な事件だな。
I got to visit Takashio at his agency in Ueno and give him a bridge summary of the case. Though I knew I shouldn't be breaching confidentiality, I figured picking a brother-in-arm's brain would be more productive than wrestling with the matter by myself. Then again, it was Natsume who'd given me the idea, so maybe I should have thought this through.
バラバラに足が燃えていたのに首がねじ曲げられていたんだろう。
いや、バラバラだけは不明だ。
3件の共通点は同年代の少女というところか。
They're students. Oh, the black cloth. Yep.
そういえば、すべての遺体には黒い布がかけられていたな。
First victim's arms were found in one. The second victim's body was blanketed in one. And the third victim's corpse was swathed in one.
全部同じ素材なのか。
いや、そこまでは調べていないと思うが。
Wait, a black cloth and a black egg. I heard a rumor about them before, hadn't I? Flipped through my notebook. Yeah, the black egg. Oh, it was something Tochiko told me. Yeah, the... Oh, specific, not the actual black egg that was found at the scene, but there's a specific one just for the story you were told. Gotcha. Right.
黒い卵を身につけて割れなければ願いが叶うが
I had a feeling the black claws had something to do with this mysterious black Madonna.
黒い聖母に殺されるねえ。割れた黒い卵ってのは被害者の腹に入っていたやつなのか。
そう考えればしっくりくる
Rumor said you'd be killed for breaking your egg. Then was the black Madonna the killer?
黒い聖母が犯人だというのは論理が飛躍しているだろうか
黒ずくめの女なのかもしれないな。
女
I deliberated the possibility that her culprit was a woman. Natsume told me that Kei Koizumi's death wasn't a rape murder despite the body exhibiting traces of sexual activity. Meaning a female killer wasn't out of the question. After all, it wasn't like a woman was incapable of dismembering a body or anything. Hell, a man had been found chopped up in the Arakawa drainage canal just 4 years ago, and the killers there had been his wife and mother-in-law.
それにしても懐かしいな。お前とこういう風に頭を使うのは。
Takushiro suddenly changed the subject.
そうだなもうこういうことはないと思っていたんだが
Not after our police days, anyway.
あの事件以来だな。
やめてくれその話は
Unfortunately, my mind couldn't help but flash back to that atrocious case 6 years ago. My face crunched as I tried to block out those serial killings that had ended in Yukiko's murder.
だが今回の事件話を聞いているとあの時
Despite my reluctance to broach the subject, Takushiro remained undeterred.
腹を裂かれ一部が欠損した遺体。
頼むやめてくれ高城
I wanted to hear another word. The thought of recalling Yukiko's death was like a knife to my heart. God, I've been such a wreck since yesterday.
悪い。
Takushiro finally backed off.
もしも奴が六式誠がこの件に絡んでいるのだとしたら俺は絶対に
Makoto Rokushiki, the man who murdered Yukiko. His face was a total enigma. All I had to go off of was his name. But if he ever dared to appear before me, I'd...
落ち着けよ。今はこの事件に集中しよう。
I knew that, but my fist simply refused to unclench. Alright, where to first? Well, that's the thing, we do need to get some samples, don't we? Some writing samples. Normally I'd say we don't go to the academy. But maybe some of the girls is hanging around, you know, I'm just saying, just saying. Keep forgetting that doesn't... Yukiko Miyama? Fuck's Yukiko? Wait, Yukiko. Oh, that's his wife, dumbass. His fiance, I should say. Okay. I'm still like, what the fuck is Yukiko? No, let's save real quick. Let's save real quick. Ooh, I shouldn't have overrated that save. Oh well, I did. Anyway. Now we could get... I was saying, we obviously need to go to Ayamu to get Yui's writing. I guess potentially we could get it from Yukari. But more than likely we'd have to go to Ayamu. And then Toko will probably just find hanging around Inokashira to be like, hey, like, fucking write some shit down for me. And honestly, like, just being at the academy, you could, like, yo, say you have a written test you want to give them, right? And collect writing samples that way, you know? Be the way I'd look at it. So, the reason I saved, we're going to go to the Girls' Academy. Maybe there's something going on there, maybe there isn't. If there isn't, I'm going to double back and do Inokashira first. I arrived at the academy. I checked the art room and spotted Toko and Toko right away. Perfect. Toko noticed me first. Toko was too busy drawing something on her canvas.
ちょっといいかな
何でしょうか。
Toko didn't even bother to hide her wariness.
君たちの筆跡を取らせてもらいたいんだが、
筆跡？
Toko's face hardened.
心配しなくても大丈夫。筆跡鑑定をするにあたって、
どうして私たちなんですか？
君たちを疑っているわけじゃない。ただ、若い女性の筆跡を集めているだけさ。
でもいいじゃないか、トウコ。時坂先生に協力しても。
Toko broke her silence and looked at me.
私のも必要なのかな、先生。
ああ、頼めるか。
もちろん。さあ、トウコも書きたまえ。
Yeah, and Toko's gonna convince Toko to go for it.
ええ。
She's like, oh, I mean, if Toko's gonna do it, I guess I have to do it too. Toko reluctantly scribbled something down.
はい、先生。これでいいのかな？
ああ、ありがとう。ではまた明日。
I placed their samples in my notebook and left the art room. I spotted a familiar face by the
い
gates.
や、佐藤さん、
時坂先生。
I am greeted me with a bow.
ちょうどよかった。佐藤さん、ちょっと協力を頼めますか。
協力？
何か西園さんの筆跡がわかるものを持っていないかな。
ゆいのですか？
I am pulled an envelope out of her bag.
これですけど、ゆいを探す手がかりになるんですか？
まだ断言はできないけれどね。
そうですか。でも、お願いします。
I am about her head as she entreated me to save her friend.
俺も精一杯努力するから、俺を信じてほしい。
はい。
今日は部活は休みなのかい？
いえ、そういうわけではないんですが。
ああ、そうか。それなら無理しない方がいい。
はい。それでは失礼します。
She bowed again before trudging off. Decided to take a leaf out of her book and get going myself. Bullshit, I got all my samples. That was easy. Time to double back to the clinic. And I guess pay back, you know, what's her face? Can't believe I actually came back to this place. I mean, I was just here, wasn't I? It's not like the autopsy results are ready yet. Wait, what's that? It was then that I noticed the sign hanging off the doorknob. Approached it, figuring it would say closed or something. But instead, it read, "Autopsy in progress." Just trying to make people puke. I finally made it back home. God, I was probably worried since I'd been out investigating from the crack of dawn and all.
おかえりなさい、兄さん。
Kata ran up to me with concern etched deeply into her countenance, just as I'd feared.
ああ、ただいま。
疲れたでしょ、兄さん。夕飯の前にお風呂が沸いていますから。
そうさせてもらうよ。
I changed into a kimono and returned to my room after enjoying a nice long soak, still waiting on dinner. In the meantime, I sat back and puffed on a cigarette.
兄さん、夕飯ができましたよ。
そうだ。ちょっと協力してくれないか。
I had a favor I need to ask her.
すぐ終わることでしたらか。
そうか。じゃあ、これを見てくれ。
I showed Yukata the sentences recorded in my notebook.
これは
おそらくな。俺もどこかで見た覚えはあるんだが。
新たなる刑罰を死に編み、第20の罪となす。
わかるのか？
題名は失念してしまいましたが、確か地獄を巡ってゆく海外のお話だったような。
And that's where part 1, the Inferno, comes into play, right? It's about the... I forget, it's a whole trilogy, which I assume is like how this series is based around anyway. It's Dante, they're referencing Dante's journey through hell, right? Which part 1 was the Inferno, and then there's like Purgatory and Paradise, I think, are the other two. It's like, isn't that the Divine Tragedy or some shit like that? Comedy? Oh, Divine Comedy, okay. Okay, yeah, the Divine Comedy. The Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso. Yeah. I never read the other two, but I actually have read Inferno. I have read Dante's Inferno. It's been fucking years since I've read that, so I'm probably gonna miss a lot of fucking references, but I did read it. Yukari furrowed her eyebrows and struggled to remember. Like, the fact that they're like, if that's what they're quoting right now, like, I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about.
そうか
It was a pretty famous one too, wasn't it? Furunosuke Akutagawa's Hell Screed. Gothe is fast. I mean, listen. Granted, I've read this one, but like, out of the three of these, I haven't heard of these other two, like, ever. Don't even know those other authors.
新曲か
そうです。
Obviously, though, it's pretty obvious it's the Divine Comedy when the game itself is titled Part 1 The Inferno.
そうか確かにあれは第何曲というように章が分けられている第20曲の在
I have to check the copy in the library later. Yeah, I don't remember the various parts of the Inferno all too well. I remember the fact is, like, there's like what 9 circles of hell, right? And the ninth circle where the devil is like ice cold and frozen. And then like the deeper you go into hell is you find worse and worse crimes. So like the very first level of hell, which is the hottest level of hell, is where all like the basic sinners go and whatnot. But then like the 9th circle of hell is where all the worst people are condemned to, and it's like a frozen wasteland. That much I do kind of remember. But that's like as much as I do remember. Because I read that shit for like a book report like my sophomore year of high school. I was like fucking, what, 16? It was either sophomore or junior years. I was like 16 or 17. So Lord knows I don't remember it that well. I went to the library after having dinner with Yukari. It was dark, so I flipped on the lights and delved through a shelf of brown paperbacks until I found it. The book in question was wrapped in paraffin paper.
こいつか
Dante's Divine Comedy. I should have realized the connection right away. After all, this one hadn't been left to me by my parents. I'd bought it myself.
すぐに気づくべきだったな
But that was all in the past now. Deciphering this came first. I lounged back in my chair and opened the book. Once I'd gotten comfortable, I flipped over to the 20th canto, where I believe I'd find the passage in question.
新たなる刑罰を死にあみこれを第一の歌沈める者の歌の内なる感と第20の罪となすべき時は至れり
I'd found it. It was the exact same sentence and everything.
すなわち顔は後ろに向かい彼ら前を望む頭でただ後ろに行くある者
Chills shuddered through me. The passage really was a perfect match for the body. However, that wasn't all.
読者よこう今自ら思え目の涙背筋を伝えて
That part hadn't been on the excerpt at the crime scene. Even so, it described tears running down the faces of the damned and trailing down their back, exactly like the blood on the victim's body. If so, did that mean the states of the other corpses also alluded to passages in this book? I skimmed through to see anything described in the novel match the corpse with the burned foot,
二の足裏火に燃
and quickly found something in Canto 24.
えて我より先に
Nope,
死に
14, dumbass.
引き入れられて石の裂け目に隠れる王子
Simony was the sin of buying or selling sacred objects, and those who committed such a crime were damned to have their feet set on fire. In that case, what was the sin of those whose heads had been reversed? Flip back to Canto 20 and kept reading.
罪を捨てて牧者となりし幸なき女らを見よ彼らは草と人型を持てその妖術を行え
Put simply, fortune tellers were punished for dabbling in witchcraft. But maybe one of the victims had committed a similar crime. Didn't Takashiro or Shugo mention that he was looking for a fortune teller? And is that who we just found with their head twisted around? Okay, and then Koizumi was apparently caught or accused of selling religious objects. The victims were young, so maybe it was one of their family members, parents or siblings who'd committed those sins. Ah, potentially. My attention was drawn to a soft knock on the door.
兄さん、コーヒーをどうぞ。
Yukari entered the library.
ああ、ありがとう。
あまり無理しないでくださいね。
心配するなよ。
だといいのですけれど。
俺はもうしばらくここで調べ物をしているから、先に寝てていいからな。
はい、わかりました。おやすみなさい、兄さん。
I need to keep going down this rabbit hole. I'd finally discovered that two of the corpses were connected to the Divine Comedy. What of the first one? What of the one who'd been reduced to nothing but a head and limbs? Maybe there was something in this book that pertained to that as well. Now that I thought about it, there was something in particular about the body that corroborated that theory. The maggots, right? Because that was like the one thing that the killer had made sure to add to it. Come to think of it, Natsume had mentioned that the maggots in the corpse were far too old. Yeah. She said something about how they didn't match up with the body's state of decay. In that case, maybe they'd been planted there intentionally. And if so, the killer wouldn't have just done it for no reason. With that thought in mind, I raked through the book. Eventually, a passage in Kanto 3 caught my eye.
またアブあり蜂ありて痛く彼らを刺し
Corresponded if you interpreted maggots as the baby gadflies and hornets. In that case, what sin had merited that punishment?
この幸なき様にあるは恥もなく誉れもなく世を送れる者らの悲しき魂なりこれか
It was the punishment for those who lived without lifting a finger. The sin of sloth.
曖昧だな
Though it was enough to form a connection to the first murder, it was by no means definitive. And yet the latter two corpses pretty clearly appeared to have been inspired by Dante's Divine Comedy.
新曲にはない特徴があるか
The black egg. The broken one that had been left in place at the victim's uterus. Could this be a reference to something else? The black egg and the black Madonna. The rumor stated that your wish would be granted if you kept a black egg on you without breaking it, but also that you'd be killed by the black Madonna if you broke it. Or that was what Tojiko had heard anyway. Maybe I need to research this black Madonna some more. If I had to guess, it'd probably have something to do with Christianity. However, scouring for it would be like trying to find a needle in a haystack. There are just too many books out there associated with the religion in question. Needless to say, that included the Old and New Testaments, and even the Divine Comedy was about the journey through the Christian afterlife.
トジコが噂で聞いたということは
Now, what kind of books did young women read?
さすがにそっちの分野は疎いからな
I decided just to bum around school tomorrow and see how much I could get out of people without arousing suspicion. Well, here's the thing, Reiji. You really, when it comes to school life, you really suck at not arousing suspicion. People kind of are suspicious of you almost on sight. Like, you don't even have to do anything, and they're just like, this motherfucker. However, I knew I needed to get the autopsy results from Natsume first.
もう少し調べるか
I procured a weathered Bible off one of the bookshelves and decided to skim through it as I drank my coffee. Kanto 4, Strange Tale of Panorama Island. Let me preemptively duck out of the way.
夜は好きだ。明かりの消えた街。星空がとてもよく見えて。何もない夜はこうして何も考えず、ただ星を眺めている。
Well, alrighty then.
兄さん、こんなところで寝ていると風邪ひきますよ。
Gotta rocked me awake.
おはようゆかり
I opened my eyes, fighting the overwhelming urge to return to the land of slumber.
寝るんでしたらきちんとお布団に入ってくださいね。
寝るつもりはなかったんだがな
I stretched out. My body was aching all over, courtesy of the chair I'd had the displeasure of sleeping in.
今何時だ
朝の5時です。
まだ今からでしたら眠れるでしょ。
5時ってまだお前だって起きるには早いだろう。
どうせ兄さんのことだからずっと書庫にこもっているだろうと思って起きたんですよ。
Mikado shook her head, clearly exasperated, before draping a padded kimono over my shoulders. I plodded back to my room.
ああ、ゆかり、起こさなくてもいいからな。
授業があるのではないです。
Mikado's brow furrowed, leaving deep creases on her forehead. She radiated the aura of a mother scolding her son for playing hooky.
午後からな。昼までは別の仕事だ。
そうですか。気をつけてくださいね。
Yukari left me to my sleep. Got a glimpse of a small frown on her face. She must have been worried about my health. I slept for another 3 hours or so before taking the train over to Takadano Baba. I figured the autopsy results would have to be in by that point.
おや、時坂藩やあらしまへんか。
Natsume was puffing on a cigarette right outside her clinic.
おはようございます、夏目さん。検視は終わりましたか？
終わってへんかったらこないとこでのんびりとしとりませんよ。さっき大住藩も来はって報告書置いてきましたわ。
ということは被害者の身元が分かった。
そうやろね。今朝の新聞にも載ってましたさかい。
Natsume escorted me into the clinic, cigarette still perched firmly between her lips. A rancid stench overwhelmed my senses the moment I strolled into the autopsy room.
まず、
Though it seemed Natsume wasn't bothered by it. Typical.
ほいじゃ大住藩にもろった報告書から読みまひょか。
Natsume pulled some documents out of a nearby envelope.
仏さんの名前は滝川由美。練馬区の大泉学園に住んでる学生さんやね。8日の夕方から見えなくなったって親御さんが警察に届けたらしいで。
Okay. Hold up, bring up the backlog again. Live in Oizumi Academy in the Narima ward. Is that something I can look at on my map? Narima ward. I'm just trying to get an idea. Well, that's... Okay, actually, that doesn't matter. Yeah, okay, up here, Narima. That makes sense, because then the crime scene was right here. Yeah. Okay.
8日か。発見まで随分と時間が空いているな。
そうどすな。死亡推定日時もその頃やし、しばらく隠しとったんかいな。
Interesting.
少なくとも拠点。遺体を隠しておける場所はあるんだ。
I wonder, maybe like someone's hidden private clinic? Getting this case open would probably be a cinch if we could zero in on the location.
夏目さん、遺体の方はどうでしたか？
直接の死因は首やったね。やっこさん、生きたまま首を折ったみたいやで。ただその前に右腕は切られとったみたいんよ。
ひどいな。
んでお腹はやっぱ割れた卵の殻が入っとったわ。
ただ
警官拡張の跡があったんよ。わかりやすく言えば堕胎した後やね。ちょいと気になって前の仏さんも調べ直してみたんやけど、そっちもやった。
Oh.
二人とも堕胎経験者。
And is that what they mean by not be okay? And that's like the hidden truth to the rumors, like not being able to carry the quote unquote egg is what's getting them killed. Interesting. It seemed like a vital clue.
堕胎するには医師の処置が必要だ。
I have to discuss the matter with Uozumi later.
まだあります今回の仏さん、薬を使われとる。
医者という可能性もあり。
Wow, that's crazy, right? Or have access to a clinic where there's medical supplies?
興味モルヒネなんか誰でも手に入れられますやろ。麻薬取締法が施行されたとはいえ、ちょいとそこいら歩けばいくらでも売っとりますしな。
That's when I played with a tiny medicine bottle. She spoke those words. She's not peddling that stuff, is she?
ああ、そうでした。時坂はん、
That's when show me the now familiar scrap of notebook paper.
うちもなんぼかわかるさかい。
I open my notebook and hand over everything I managed to obtain.
これです。
さいなら。
That's when I sat down and compared what I'd given her to the scrap of paper.
ほんにまあ、時坂はん、えらく適当に集めてきたんどすな。同じ漢字があればまだマシやったのに。これじゃ細かく見なあかんやんか。
God damn it, Reiji. Come on, even I know you gotta write the same goddamn sentence. Just write this sentence. This simple sentence. That's all they gotta do. I mean, I guess, okay, in Yui's case, he couldn't do that. He just had to get it from Ayamu. But in that case, you should have gone to Ayamu first, and then gone to the Tokos and been like, hey, write this sentence that was also in the letter.
だからといって、実際に書かれていた内容を伝えるのもいけないでしょう。
かまへんと思うんやけどな。
Natsume whipped out a magnifying glass and scrutinized the samples.
ん？これは近いかもしれまへんや。
どれですか？
Picked to what Natsume was working on.
この手紙や、西園ゆい。今
Yeah,
行方不明
I
に
thought
なっ
so.
とるお嬢さんやね。
そうですか。
So Yui Nishizono wrote the message found in the victim's mouth. It seemed pretty big on its own, but there was also the fact she was still missing.
夏目さん、今持ってきた手紙と遺体についていた紙から西。
うん、できると思います。硝酸銀かニンヒドリンを使わなあかんから、ここ。
それでもお願いできますか？
うちから鑑識に言うときます。急がせますから、今日中には結果がわかると思います。
夏目さん、電話をお借りしても。
ちゃんと返してくれるんやったらええよ。
持っていくわけないでしょうが。
I shook my head and went to call Ozumi.
おう、レイジか。
魚住、至急頼みたいことがある。都内の産科を渡って被害者が通院していなかったか調べてくれ。
参加？堕退したところを探せばいいのか？
あと一つ、被害者の家族について職業や何か厄介事を抱えていたりしてなかったかを調べてもらえるか。
そっちの方から攻めるのか。わかった、調べておく。
よろしく
Hell
頼
yeah.
今度はこっちからだ。西園ゆいについてなんだが、
む。男。
That wasn't what Sato had said.
まだ何者かは分かっちゃいねえんだがな。
Oh yeah? Did she have a boyfriend? Did they fuck nasty? Did she get an abortion?
ああ、わかった。
Is that where we're going with this? I hung up. Finally felt like we were making actual progress.
おいしい時坂はん、貸してたの返してもらいまひょか。
通話代。
もちろんです。
That's when I reached for my crotch. Yep, okay, that's where this is going.
俺も忙しいんで。
飽きまへんや、時坂はん。覚悟を決めやす。
Can I just pay you in money? Nope. The only payment I take is cock, boy.
それにしても夏目さん。
Wow. Huh. Yo, I never expected this story to go to the point where we're paying the coroner in butt sex, but here we are. Huh. That was a thing that happened. Anyway, now that you help me out. Huh, yeah.
なんですか。
夏目さんの方言って。
ああ、それは仕方ありまへんや。お家は京都ですけど、うち。
は
Was it really that easy to mix up dialects?
まあ、うちの京言葉はアメリカなまりどすからな。
あ、いや、それは絶対に嘘
That wasn't the only thing she was pulling.